There are countless deadly snakes on our planet, each with its own unique characteristics and methods of subduing their prey. And when these silent killers of the wild get into confrontations against one another, it always results in the most deadly and gruesome fights, which is exactly what we're about to see today. A black mamba crossed paths with an enormous python that dwarfed it in sheer size and thickness here. Despite the python's intimidating appearance, it immediately displayed signs of unease and began retreating, clearly aware of the lethal predator it was facing. However, the black mamba wasted no time. It launched an attack, seeking its venomous fangs into the python's body. The mamba, confident in the power of its deadly venom, didn't follow up with another strike. Instead, it seemed content to wait, knowing that the toxin would soon overpower the much larger snake. The python squirmed in visible distress, but the clip ended abruptly, leaving us to wonder about the aftermath of this intense confrontation. Here we have a Russell's viper, one of the deadliest snakes in the world, that made a critical mistake by venturing too close to a king cobra. Likely confusing the cobra for just another snake, the viper seemed unaware of the true danger until it was almost too late. As the king cobra raised its imposing hood and locked eyes with the viper, the smaller snake immediately recoiled, realizing it had just picked the wrong fight. Panicked, the viper began planning its escape, but the cobra wasn't about to let it off that easily. The cobra lunged, its fangs aimed for the viper's body. In a desperate move, the viper barely avoided the strike and quickly slithered away, leaving the scene as fast as it could. The moment a massive king cobra crossed paths with a smaller snake in the woods here, it wasted no time asserting its dominance. With incredible speed, the cobra lunged forward, sinking its fangs into the unfortunate snake. The venomous bite was just the beginning. The cobra then expertly coiled itself around its prey, immobilizing it in a deadly embrace. The smaller snake, unable to fight back, struggled briefly, but was no match for the cobra's sheer power and precision. Once the cobra ensured its victim was completely subdued, it began the slow and methodical process of swallowing the smaller snake whole. Pythons are some of the most feared predators on the planet, renowned for their strength and deadly hunting skills. However, even these giants of the snake world are rendered defenseless when they encounter the king cobra, nature's undisputed apex predator. In this chilling encounter, a massive python fell victim to the stealth of a king cobra. The cobra approached with calculated precision, slithering inch by inch along the python's body until it was staring at its unsuspecting target's head. Waiting for the perfect moment to strike, the cobra bit into the python's face. The python reacted swiftly, thrashing and struggling to avoid the cobra's jaws fully engulfing its head, igniting a brutal battle. But the fight was already over before it began. The king cobra's venom was coursing through the python's body. As the python's movements grew weaker, the cobra stood victorious, claiming another meal as its rightful prize. Despite this king cobra coiling around it and delivering a venomous bite, the python managed to untangle itself and slither away, escaping the cobra's deadly grip. However, the bite had already been delivered and sealed the python's fate. With the king cobra's venom coursing through its body, survival was no longer an option. As the python moved slowly through the woods, it seemed unaware that it was already living on borrowed time. Even though the king cobra didn't immediately consume it, the python's future was bleak. Its weakened state would make it an easy target for scavengers or other predators. In this brutal encounter, a massive king cobra crossed paths with a feisty smaller snake deep in the woods. As soon as it spotted its target, the king cobra launched an attack, aiming to make the smaller snake its next meal. The smaller snake, however, refused to go down without a fight, retaliating with relentless strikes, biting back in a desperate attempt to fend off the predator. But the king cobra, unfazed by the smaller snake's fury, kept its composure. It knew that victory required strategy, not just brute force. With calculated precision, the king cobra struck the smaller snake's head, delivering a disabling bite. This move rendered the smaller snake defenseless, unable to continue its attacks. From there, the king cobra took control, pinning its prey to the ground. Without rushing, it began swallowing the smaller snake whole, inch by inch, until the struggle was over. When this smaller Burmese python found itself in a one-sided showdown with a massive king cobra, the outcome was as predictable as it was chilling. Although the actual fight wasn't caught on film, the aftermath told the entire story. The lifeless python lay limp, while the victorious king cobra eagerly began the process of swallowing its massive prey. Bit by bit, the cobra worked its jaws around the python, pinning it down and consuming it hungrily. This was no ordinary meal. It was a feast that would sustain the cobra for days, if not weeks. For other creatures in the area, this was likely a temporary reprieve from the terrifying reality of facing a hungry king cobra. An ill-fated python met its match when it faced off against a king cobra in a deadly battle that played out exactly as nature intended here. The fight ended in the cobra's favor, as it always does, with the python lifeless and its massive head already disappearing into the king cobra's gaping jaws. Piece by piece, the king cobra worked to push the python down its throat, a slow and methodical process that left no trace of its prey. Colossal yet foolish, this python overestimated its might when it encountered an equally massive king cobra deep in the woods. Believing itself invincible, the python made the first move, wrapping its muscular body tightly around the cobra in an attempt to crush the serpent. For a moment, it seemed the python had the upper hand, but the king cobra, true to its predatory might, struck back with deadly intent. Its fangs sank deeply into the python's head, injecting a lethal dose of venom. Locked in a tense stalemate, neither predator could overpower the other outright. However, time was on the cobra's side. As the venom coursed through the python's veins, the once mighty constrictor began to weaken. Its grip loosened gradually until it lay lifeless in the cobra's coils. Victorious, the cobra prepared to devour its hefty prey, turning the python into its next meal. Coiling around a king cobra in an attempt to constrict it is a fatal mistake, as this python learned the hard way. Engaged in a fierce battle, the python wrapped its powerful body tightly around the cobra, trying to crush the life out of its rival. But king cobras are unmatched when it comes to lethal struggles. Relying on its venomous fangs, the cobra delivered a decisive bite, sinking its teeth into the python's flesh and injecting a dose of its unstoppable venom. The python, despite its legendary strength, began to falter. Its grip tightened momentarily in desperation, but the venom quickly sapped its power. As the seconds ticked by, the once mighty constrictor found itself immobilized, unable to release its adversary or continue its assault. The king cobra, calm and calculating, held firm in its death grip, waiting patiently for the python's inevitable demise. The giant king snake stumbled upon a rattlesnake as it was searching for something to eat, and the greedy snake wasted no time in attacking the helpless prey. The king snake went directly for the rattlesnake's head as usual, and once it managed to securely lock it inside of its mouth, the king snake wrapped itself around its terrified victim to restrict its movement as it tried to stuff it down its throat. The rattlesnake's movement was completely paralyzed, and even though the terrified snake kept struggling to break free of its predator's airtight grip, it knew that it was finished and that it was going to end up inside of the greedy predator's stomach no matter what it tried. Even among their own kind, king cobras reign supreme. This was evident in this encounter, where a king cobra stumbled upon a snake den and immediately realized another cobra was hiding within. Wasting no time, the king cobra invaded the den, sinking its venomous fangs into the smaller cobra's head. With an unbreakable grip, it began rolling and to force the terrified snake out of its shelter. Little by little, the smaller cobra was dragged out, its efforts to resist utterly futile. Once it was fully exposed, the king cobra began swallowing it headfirst, inch by inch. The process was so disturbingly smooth that it seemed as though the smaller cobra was willingly submitting to its fate and slithering deeper into the predator's throat. King snakes are another menace of the reptilian world. This huge king snake was lucky enough to stumble upon a much smaller patch-nosed snake as it was searching for food, and the hungry predator didn't think twice before attacking. The patch-nosed snake responded by biting the greedy king snake's head, but the king snake couldn't care less. The king snake did make a mistake in the beginning when it attacked the snake below the neck instead of going straight for its head, which gave the patch-nosed snake a fighting chance against the salivating reptile. But as it always does, the king snake ended up winning the fight after it managed to bite the other snake's head and was able to crush its skull. In a rare and fascinating incident, this king cobra encountered a massive Chinese cobra, but instead of engaging in a deadly showdown, the king cobra chose a surprising path. It seemed the king cobra had already eaten and saw no reason to provoke a fight. The Chinese cobra, equally aware of the potential danger, refrained from attacking as well. For the king cobra, a fight would have likely ended in victory, but it understood that survival isn't just about power. It's about conserving energy and picking battles carefully.
Did you enjoy this video? Please let us know in the comments section down below. And don't forget to leave us a like and subscribe to the channel while you're at it. And please, turn on your notifications bell to get notified when we upload a new video. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.